for this week, we're starting with the power. So if you go to your assignments page, you're going to see the PowerPoint, and the PowerPoint has both slides for lessons 3 and 4. Those are our two major assignments for the week, and we're putting them all in one package, so everybody has access to it right away. You can go on your own pace. But I do have, there's a stop slide that says, well, okay, this is the ending point between lesson 3 and lesson 4. So you can stop there and work on your article for lesson 3, article number 1 for this. And then if you're ready after that, you can move on to the other slides for article 2. And yeah, those will take care of that. So the power of protest. So last week we were introduced to the idea of what protests are. We learned a little bit about the music and the poetry of protest. And this week we're going to start to look at the 4 articles that go into an argument essay unit, that go into argument essay. Remember, you usually get 4 articles, and you have to use at least 3 to figure out and prove your claim, what you're trying to argue for in your essay. So today we're going to look at the power of protests, are peaceful protests necessary to affect change, our big question, and then the major article for today talks about what peaceful protests are about.
You want me to read the do now?
Yes, please. I was just trying to see if I could give it that sound there.
Do now. Examine both photos. What feelings do these images evoke, bring to mind for you?
All right, so there we go. So in the left picture, you've got a sign that says no justice, no peace. And on the right side, you've got a mural painting that says make love, not war, and give peace a chance. So for anybody who's any of my students, our students here in the chat, or you can unmute yourself if you want. Take a minute and think about these pictures and what feelings do these evoke and bring to mind for you. Does anybody like to share what they think when they see these pictures? You can raise your hand by pressing the raise your hand button on the top of your options screen. Erum.
We have.
Go ahead, ma'am.
This reminds me, like, it makes me want to protest about peace, equality, and any problems that we face in our society.
Thank you very much.
I'm sorry, who's just...
Just going to mute everybody there for a second because of the background noise. But that was a really good start, and I appreciate starting us off with the share there. And that's kind of what we want you to do when you're in the chat or talking here. We want you to share your response. So if anybody else has a question, please let us know, or sorry, a comment about this. You can ask to unmute, or you can raise your hand. I'll unmute you. Again, the raise your hand button's on the top. if you're looking at the desktop. And Miss Bosmond, I'm going to try and find you on the list here and unmute you. If I can. Or what I can do is maybe make you a presenter.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Okay, great.
All right.
Awesome. And let me make you a presenter.
Okay.
As well. Okay, great. Okay, so everybody who needs, you can unmute yourself if you want, apparently. And is there anybody else who wants to participate in this do now? Okay, so no matter what, though, you should be writing your answer on the graphic organizer when you get the assignment. So just think about what your answer would be when you would do that. And Aaron, thank you so much for sharing your answer with us today. All right, and so our aim for today, again, we're just basically repeating the question, the essential question of the unit. A peaceful protest, an effective form of protest. All right, so one of the things we want to talk about for a second before going into the article is because, again, with dealing with sources, accuracy and relevance and how do you know something is giving you the right, not the right information is the wrong way of saying it, but information that you can find reliable. With a lot of stuff that's available these days, to hundreds of websites that report news, and there's a lot that's out there and has been for years, and sometimes it's difficult to understand which is giving you accurate information. So how do you know that a website or other source is giving you accurate information? You need to think critically. It's important to understand that not all information is equal. We need to employ critical thinking and be selective when it comes to the information sources we use. Just because you find it in print or online, you don't assume that it's accurate or reliable. There's a number of different ways to measure something that's reliable. And of course, when we do these argument essays, you want to have something that backs up your point, makes your claim not just precise but accurate. So we're giving you the articles, so we've already kind of gone through them and done what's called vetting, or basically seen whether or not they're accurate. But if you're independently researching, if you're doing an essay, if you're doing a project or report, you want to go through a process of figuring out whether it's accurate or not. And so we're going to go through a little bit of an acronym here. It's not my acronym. It's not Ms. Bosmond's acronym. It's not my favorite acronym in the world, but it is an acronym to represent the factors, the things that we look for in terms of accurate information, and it's called CRAP. What a wonderful, wonderful acronym. Again, I'm not responsible for this whatsoever. If you want to laugh about it, it's great.
But it may help you to remember.
I'm sure nobody's going to forget at this point. So can you detect crap? Can you figure out what makes an article worthy of being used in an essay? And it's divided into 5 categories. Currency, which means the timeliness of the info. Did the information get released today, or is this a report from 20 years ago? Because a report from 20 years ago might not have accurate information that's up to date. Relevance, how the information fits your needs. So is it important to you to use the information to prove your point? Authority, the source of the information. So when the person writing the article or the person quoted in the article, how do you trust that what they say is true or at least valid? Are they an expert in their field? Do they have they like are they a scientist who's done research for 20 years in a certain gene
Mhm.
situation, and you're writing an article on that? Are you writing a baseball article and you got to talk? You don't want to necessarily talk to someone who doesn't know about baseball, or football or basketball if they're writing articles on that. You want to talk to maybe a former player or a coach, get their perspective because they have that experience, they have that authority. Accuracy, reliability, and correctness of the info. So, how accurate is it? And sometimes you can't just trust one source. You should go to multiple sources to see if it's backed up. And then purpose, the reason the information exists. Why is this information being used? Is it being used to prove a point? Is it being used to show you something? Or is it is there no reason? If there's no reason why the information exists, why is it there? What's the point? So again, the bottom line is that not everything you read on the internet is true. Always fact check the source. Always figure out whether or not you should put your trust in it. So
I'm sorry, I have someone waiting in the lobby. Should I just admit them? Because I don't see a name.
sure, we'll ask them to put their name on it, and if we need to. Okay, I'll do it. Okay, and the person who just came in, the 917 number, if you could change your name, if possible, or tell us who you are. Okay. Oh, all right. You can put your name in the chat if you want. Andals has to leave. No problem. Appreciate that. Appreciate you jumping in. Again, all the information is going to be on the assignment. We're going over it with the people who are here. And again, if anybody has any questions, please let us know. To review, claim is one sentence main statement that is debatable, has multiple subtopics, the author's reasons behind his or her arguments, detailed and specific, and is substantiated with research, evidence, testimony, and academic reasoning. A claim is not a summary. So in other words, if we're reading, Shakespeare's Much Ado About Nothing, and I tell you, make a claim about Much Ado About Nothing. And you're not going to say, well, Much Ado About Nothing is about two sets of couples. One doesn't necessarily love the other. The others love each other, but then are tricked into not loving each other. Well, that's a summary. That's not a claim. You can say that Much Ado About Nothing is Shakespeare's greatest attempt at a love story because it shows both real and idealized love and tries to figure out which is best. That's a claim, and it's precise, it's clear, gives me a reason. But even if I chopped half of that off and said Much Ado About Nothing is Shakespeare's greatest attempt at a love story, that's still a claim because I'm trying to make an argument. I'm taking a side for something, and then I would use my evidence, my sources to try to prove that. So again, you don't want to summarize. I don't want main idea. We don't want you to tell us a phrase or a cliche like, all's well that ends well, which is another Shakespeare play name. That's a cliche. So these are not things that we can certainly prove. A claim is something you can debate or try to prove. So example, are Twinkies the best dessert snack? The claim is Twinkies taste better than other snack cakes because of their texture, their creamy filling, and their golden appearance. And now I want a Twinkie. I can't have a Twinkie, Miss Bosmond. I'm on a diet.
Aren't we all?
An opinion, not a claim. Twinkies are delicious. Aren't they, though? Aren't they, though? Miss Bosmond, is there anything you want to add on claim?
No, you hit it all.
Cool. Any questions on that? Again, it's tough. Again, being remote, to, what we would usually do in a classroom is have people, practice writing claims and go around and check. And I don't know if necessarily that's something that's going to work online like that. But
Mhm.
again, the example on the screen, I think, is a good thing to look at, and the difference between what a claim is and what it's not.
Mhm.
All right, so we're going to take about, well, I don't know how much time it's going to take, but we're going to take a little bit of time now to look at the article that's available right now called "Are Peaceful Protests More Effective Than Violent Ones?" And we're going to show you a little bit about the annotation and just what we expect from the article. So I'm going to just stop presenting here for a second. And I'm going to try and share the Word documents. Do I have that set up? PowerPoint, PowerPoints. Okay. Okay, Ms. Bosmond, can you see my screen?
I can see your screen.
All right. So again, guys, when you open up your Word document for this week, this is what you'll find when you do. For Article 1, at least, you will obviously have a spot for your name. You'll have a spot for the do now. You can press in the text box and you can start to write the answer. So this is what we did was, obviously a lot of people last week had issues accessing table or sidebars when opening Word. So we have basically changed it to a simple format with tables, and hopefully that'll work for you to write your answers in. And again, if you click down, you will get to the article for this week. Article number 1 is here, and then article number 2 is in the other assignment. Read the text below and annotate using sidebars and text boxes. Be sure to answer any questions in the sidebars and text boxes, as well as add your own comments. So, are peaceful protests more effective than violent ones? This is an article by Emily Arnson. And basically, as you read through the article, you'll just be answering the questions in the text box and also annotating. And again, one of the major ways to annotate that I brought up in the tutorial video, if you haven't seen it yet, we're going to ask you to either highlight or to underline lines of the articles or stories that we read that you think are important. Are they relevant? Do they have a point? Do they make you think about something that's important to it? And if, for example, I think this part is important, I'll just highlight the text. I'm pressing on my laptop, I'm pressing the mouse button and just being able to highlight. And then I can go to the highlighter, text highlighter color option. It's default usually in Word is yellow, and just press that, and that part is highlighted. And so we just like you to do that throughout the article, what you think is important, and answering the questions in the boxes that come up. If I want to change the highlighter color, I could do that. So if you have a particular highlighter color you like to use, feel free. You don't have to use ours. Another alternative is to underline. If you think something's important, Control U after you highlight a text. Again, this is probably all basic stuff to you guys, but just in case you don't know, this is kind of what we want. So when you think of protest, what comes to mind is a big question. And at the beginning of every article, we're going to ask you, what do you think the article will be about? What do you think the title will be about? So this article is called "Are Peaceful Protests More Effective Than Violent Ones?" When you guys think of protest, what comes to mind? I'm going to ask everybody to think about that, and if there's anybody who is willing to share their answers, please do. When you think of protests, what comes to mind? And again, if you want to participate, just raise your hand. I can call on you. The raise your hand option is right here. Okay, maybe we'll start cold calling a few people. Lily, are you there? You're the first box on my screen here.
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, when do you think? Hey, what's up?
Nothing.
Okay.
I'm just about to go to my next meeting, but I have like 5 minutes. So.
Okay, very quickly then, get some participation. When you think of protests, what do you think of?
I think of people protesting to invoke change in the world, and they're really rising up with their dislikes for action, really, and to cause change for their causes.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lily.
Thank you.
That was very well said. I liked a lot about, you gave the cause, you gave the reasons why, people rising up to action. And if I would just continue to write your answer down in that box, that would fulfill that part of the article. So let's just read the first couple paragraphs here. As unrest erupts across the world after the killing of the black man George Floyd by a white police officer, even some peaceful protests have descended into chaos, calling into question the efficacy of violence, the ability of violence to solve when it comes to spurring social change. There's certainly more evidence that peaceful protests are more successful because they build a wider coalition, says Jordana Rebrenovic, hopefully I'm pronouncing that name correct, Associate Professor of Sociology and Director of the Brudnick Center on Violence and Conflict. So just going back to what we talked about a few minutes ago, already this article is trying to use authorities, trying to use the experts by using someone who's a professor of sociology and someone who would know a little bit about the topic. And just in those opening I'll finish reading these two, and then we'll talk generally about the claim. Who's responsible for inciting this violence, the protesters or the police, is another debate entirely, but Rebrenovic says one thing is clear. In order for a movement to gain support and inspire lasting change, peace and consensus are essential. So peace and consensus, I think, are the two big things that will be brought up in this article. Peace, obviously, peaceful protests, nonviolent protests, which we went over in lesson 2, and then consensus, building agreements between different people to have a mutual understanding of, what are our goals, what can be done to solve this problem, or to create a better social situation for people. Violence can scare away your potential allies. You need the people on the sidelines to say, this is my issue too, she says. For people who say all lives matter, that's true, but not all lives are in danger. You need to convince them. Still, it's not always easy or even feasible for groups of oppressed people to take this moral high road, Rebrenovic says. So as you read the article, you definitely see what Rebrenovic is arguing for, but also she's got a lot of what's called nuance. She's got a lot of little details to her point, and it's not just one side or the other. There's a little bit of a explanation as to why she feels the way she feels. So again, as you go through the article, you'll be answering these questions in the boxes. The phrase unrest erupts. What do you think the phrase unrest erupts means in the first sentence? You can use this space here to write your comments and notes. And one of the things you can do when you're doing annotations, taking notes down, responding to an article, is you can ask questions, or you can think or write down what you find interesting. So what I could write is what I find interesting about this article. is that it seems to advocate for a peaceful way of protesting and solving a question I have is, what will it take to convince people to understand why people protest? Okay.
I'm sorry, Lily, did you want to say something? I saw your hand was up.
Yeah, sorry, I'm on my screen. So Miss Bosmond, if there's anybody who would like to say something or sing in the chat, please point that out for us. Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I had to leave because I have another meeting for my class.
Oh, certainly.
Thank
Okay,
you.
well, we're recording this, so if if we can post this up, you can check out the rest of this. We only have I think we only have a few more minutes left in this, just to kind of go through the assignment and our expectations of it, and then kind of take questions and dismiss there. So
Okay.
thanks, Lily. Anybody
Thank
else, just let us know. If you have to go, please write that down in the chat. Everybody else who can stick around, please do stick around. We're only going to keep you for another couple of minutes. I just want to close out the article, have Ms. Bosman speak on it. We'll take questions, and then we'll just do closeout. Because again, our time frame here, I'm available 8:30 to 9:45. That doesn't necessarily mean our classes are an hour and 15 minutes in length. It just means that's the time I'm on. I will stay on and be available for questions for anybody who wants help. I will be available here. I'll be in front of my computer screen. But not all lessons will take an hour and 15 minutes. However we go is however long we go. So if it's shorter, it's shorter. All right, so just to quickly take you through these articles. These are longer articles, guys, but again, you have the entire week to read through them, to annotate them, and to do the claim organizer, which I'm going to bring up in just a second, because that's the second most important thing I think here besides reading the article. Is once you read the article and you answer all these questions that are here, you can also write any comments. Here we go. The claim evidence chart. Please make sure you do this before turning in the assignment. This is the annotation, the comments in the boxes, and then these boxes at the end. These are the things that that will be grading, that consist of your grade. So again, I mentioned this last week, but for every one of these articles, we're going to ask you to figure out what is the claim being made in the article, what is one piece of evidence that supports the claim, and then to explain how the evidence supports the claim. So again, you're building within these answers what would be a really great paragraph that you could include in any essay that you write, is claim evidence analysis. The extra part of this, the new part of this, is to go look at and again, you can use the slides here to look at the qualities of crap. Based on your reading of this article, do you think that this is a credible source? Why? So remember, is the article current? Is the source relevant to the topic? Who is the author? Is the information correct? And what is the author's purpose? Okay. And every assignment will have our rubric here when we grade. These are some of the things we're looking at. Again, claims. And then support and citations. So did you do the claim statement? Did you, to get a 3 at least, which is our proficient or mastery level, we want to introduce a precise claim that is supported by a range of sources. We want to demonstrate an appropriate and accurate analysis of the text. We want to support a claim by citing at least 3 credible sources that sufficiently adequately defend the argument. So we don't have 3 sources here, but if you want to quote something from the article to help prove your point, that would do it, right?
Yeah. And can I just add on? I've actually graded these argument of essays for Regents purposes. And also when I'm grading in the classroom, that's actually the first thing I do. I look for all the different sources that were used. I actually count them up. I do a little tally in the top corner of the paper. So just so you know, sometimes people just like one particular article and they keep using it. It's important that you use at least three different articles. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay.
And by the end of this, you'll have 4,
Yeah.
so you'll be able to choose 3.
Exactly.
Ms. Bosman, I'm no longer sharing my screen, right? You just see
No.
me on video?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
I'm asking because I'm
Yeah.
we're first couple weeks trying to iron out the kinks here.
I know.
Okay.
Feel like a dress rehearsal.
Yes. So let's just stop here and we'll take any questions. What are you guys confused about? What do you guys need clearing up? How are you guys feeling about this?
Hi, Alyssa.
Hey, Alyssa, good to see you. So I'm just going to put up the show participants here. So again, if you guys have any questions, please click. You can click on the raise your hand button, and we'll see you in the list. Or you can unmute yourself, or you can write a question in the chat. But generally, how are we feeling, guys? Thumbs up, thumbs down about this lesson.
Anyone anticipating any writing challenges?
Alyssa's in the middle.
Okay.
So again, what do you guys want to work on? What do you guys feel like you need to work on here? Is there anything we can do while we're still here live that will help? Okay. No questions, no comments. That's okay. Again, if you have anything, that you want to address to Ms. Bosman or I, and you want to do it in the private chat, if you have a specific question, you can do that, and we'll answer as best as we can. Ms. Bosman, was there anything else about that lesson that you wanted to bring up before we do final notes and then dismiss?
No, not at the time, but I will bring stuff up as it pops into my head.
Great. All right. So just to remind you then, so this lesson, you know what? Let me do this because I think it might help solve some confusions that come up as you look at the assignment.
I'm sorry. I did want to remind them that
Yeah.
we're not looking for in an argument of essay. We're not looking for any personal opinion. So it's not about I or I think, I believe. You're actually kind of like being objective, as you gather your information and you create your claims, you're the objective person. Like you're almost writing it in a way like I'm not gonna give, like a reporter, you're not gonna give your personal opinions because you're just stating the facts and you're analyzing the facts okay?
So I just want to bring this up. This is kind of obvious, but I'm going to bring it up anyway. When you open up your PowerPoint and you come to this slide, it says stop. That's the end of lesson 3's slides. And you can go back and review if you didn't understand anything. Reach out to us on Teams if you need to. But at that point, you should be going into your article on the Word document and working on it then. And when you're ready, and so, basically you should be doing this today and tomorrow. And then ideally Thursday and Friday, you'll do lesson 4, which is the second article on the pros and cons of of protest. And that talks a little bit more about a couple of the more violent riots that happened and some of the pros and cons of rioting as a form of protest. So it says when you're ready, you should continue the next set of slides. If I page down on this, then the next lesson starts, the pros and cons of riots. And we did that. We included them both in the same PowerPoint for both days, both assignments, just so it's a little bit easier access to people. Again, both assignments are available right now. And if you just want to have it in one spot, the PowerPoints anyway, for the next assignment, Article 2, you would go into that page to do the Word document and all that information. But here's the do now. We'll go over this a little bit more in detail. We're going to save, just a preview here, sneak preview. movie trailer because Miss Bosman, if we do in person on Thursday and Friday, Group A, Group B rather, then this would be a do now for you guys here, which is looking at Stonewall, Crown Heights, and Rodney King riots in LA, and answering questions about them. And so again, if you go further into those slides, you can kind of see what the lesson's going to be about. You can look at the article, and then Miss Bosman will guide you through it. So again, Tuesday and Wednesday, today and tomorrow, are the first article, peaceful protests. Thursday and Friday, you should be doing, and we'll do more tomorrow, I guess. For those of you online, we'll talk more about that tomorrow. But Miss Bosman will guide you through and work with you on the articles in person when that happens.
Looking forward, guys.
For sure. So again, just wanted to show that to you also. Nobody's confused. When you see that there's more slides that you didn't get to and you go, oh my God, what happened? What's going on? Don't worry, just stop right there and you can go back to read your article and answer those questions at that point. Okay. That being said, if anybody else has final questions, bring that up. I think just because this ran, obviously trying to get the kinks of the functions out, but we didn't have a Zoom bomber. We got some participation from some students today, which I'm very happy about. Hopefully we'll get more as we go along and we're used to this medium. But I'm glad that when we ask questions, people answered. So thank you for that. And that is about it. So let's see if I can stop recording here. Stop recording. So for everybody who is watching this, get to work. All right. Peace out.
Have a great day, everyone.
All right. So everybody else,